Roll Tide, everybody. Welcome to Elephant in the Room with Jake Coker. I'm Mick Gillispie talking about Alabama and their win over South Florida. One of those games you're going to look back on and say, hey, man, that was quite a contest for Alabama, and you hope it's a turning point to the season, and we'll find out. But lots to talk about there. Definitely some good, definitely a lot of bad, and definitely a lot of ugly. We'll get into that here on the show. But like and subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and let me do Jake's favorite thing and play the open. Well, he's returned. I saw him crowding Nick Saban on the field. It was really intimidating there. You just kind of throwing your size around a little bit on Coach Saban.
I mean,
what was up with that?
You're killing me. Killing me. No, it was a good time, man. Had the 2014 team reunion, and Coach Saban came by. Obviously, the naming of the field, big honor for him. Something that furthermore cements his legacy. And wanted to be there for the 2014 team, but mainly it was a celebration of Coach Saban. That halftime entrance was awesome. Something I'll never forget. And just getting to talk and catch up with him just a little bit meant a lot to me. It's rare I get to see him, so when I do, I like to enjoy it as much as possible.
A lot of people want to know when you're going to have him on Elephant in the Room. When's that going to happen? Is there a reason why you haven't had him on the show yet? Or, I mean, is this something that's in the works?
A reason why? No, there's no reason why. I think he's got a lot going on, and we'll figure it out at some point. We'll probably have to ride up to Tuscaloosa and get it done.
Hey, that'd be fun, man. I'd love to just get in between you guys and get a conversation going, based on the time that you guys spent together, and see if I could get Coach Saban to laugh. I saw you doing it. You had him cracking up on the sideline.
Well, it was more so me laughing at him, asking him about game day, and seeing if just picking his brain about if he missed coaching or not, and kind of what the lifestyle's like in retirement. I know it's a lot different, but he's trying to stay as busy as possible, and I just tell him how much I liked him on game day and all that. I mean, he is by far the best analyst on there, and I feel like he's, when he took that job, I think everybody was kind of surprised at how much he's executing that job, watching film. He's always the only one, going through each play and diagramming, the schemes on offense and defense and explaining all of it. That shows a lot about pageantry, but he's brought a lot of football to that show, and you really get to see the other side of him,
Yeah, no
I've
doubt,
said
man.
I've said it for a long time. You don't really know what Coach Saban's like watching his interviews, and everybody. I mean, there's no doubt he's an intimidating figure, and I when I approach him, I approach him with caution sometimes. Just make sure I got everything together, and I don't want to let him down. So he's got high expectations, but he is a funny guy. Kind of away from the camera and away from the microphones.
Elephant in the Room is brought to you by mybookie.ag. Use the promo code NEXTROUND to double your initial deposit. That's right. MyBookie will double your initial deposit when you use the code NEXTROUND. Kick off the football season with mybookie.ag and double your initial deposit using the promo code NEXTROUND. We appreciate them. Alabama didn't cover. Just kind of finishing up the conversation on Nick Saban. Good. I thought they did a really nice job with the ceremony. Our friend Chris Stewart out there, kind of the master of ceremonies. Greg Byrne spoke. Terry Saban, Nick Saban. They're just such a big part of the community, and really a life changer for me maybe for them as well, but when the tornadoes came in 2011, and I've talked about this before, but I felt like, I volunteered through the athletic department. I was working with the Crimson Tide Sports Network at the time, and basically it was just kind of like show up and help. And we had golf carts going out, and then Coach Saban was one of the reasons that we got a lot of stuff done. And I worked with a lot of the football players. We just during that time of need, and then him and Terry have done so many great things for the community. Now I'm going to keep on making fun of Coach Saban for being in the media, for being mean to the media for a long time. Now he's in it. Come on, baby. But I love him. Man.
Well, I think he's got a reason to be. I think maybe him working in the media is kind of, proving him right about a lot of things, because there are a lot of guys that go out there and say things where you're like, did we watch the same game? Do you know what you're talking about? Are you,
that is so true, man, about sports in general,
because there's so many people that have shows that make comments where, they're basically taking what someone else said that they trust, and then they just run with it. And they really don't know what they're saying, and they haven't watched film like Coach Saban has. And so, when he asks questions, when he's doing his job as a media personality, I know he's done his homework. He knows what he's looking at. He knows the questions to ask. And if he's asking them, there's a reason for it. It's something that he saw personally, and he's drawing from conclusions that he's made.
Yeah, no, and that's why you pay him all the money, to get his opinions on there. And you can't be afraid to give an opinion. Like I said, I was telling him, like, on here, that when he picked Alabama to come in behind Texas and Georgia, to stick to it if that's what he thinks. If you're in the media, you got to be honest. I think that's, one of the things that makes you good at your job, is you just tell it the way you see it.
Yeah, and I don't think, when he was coaching, I don't think he really paid too much attention to the media. I think he pulled things that he could use to motivate players and his players and coaching staff and everyone around him. I'm sure that he had some help. I don't think he was actively searching or reading, the press clippings. I think he probably definitely had someone, grabbing stuff, bringing it to him, saying, "Hey, we can use this, we can use that," and find a way to motivate the players through the media. But now that he's on this stage, that's his job, and he's going to do it really well. There's nobody I've seen with tunnel vision like Coach Saban, where what he's doing today is the most important thing, and he's really not listening to any outside noise. He's so busy he doesn't have time.
Right. Well, let's talk about the game. Kalen DeBoer's second game at Alabama. There were some hiccups. There were a bunch of penalties at the beginning of the game. I'm always suspicious when I see a ton of penalties, holding penalties. Some of them were obvious. Some of them I'm not sure about. But at the same time, I feel like you could call penalties on every play if you wanted to. How many real clean blocks are there? Seems like there's grabbing on every play. But that definitely changed the way that this game started. And then it kind of led to Alabama being out of sync. The turnovers, they had 3 turnovers, none for South Florida, but exploded at the end of the game. As you guys know, they scored 28 points in the fourth quarter and routed them, because you got to play 60 minutes. That's just the way it is. You don't play 48 minutes. Don't complain about the last 6 minutes of the game or whatever it is. And but at the same time, it was a tough game.
Yeah, South Florida was a really well-coached team, and through the transfer portal, you watch that game, and there was guys from really, I feel like, all over the country on that team. Guys with a lot of experience coming from bigger programs, and so they had some talent. This was not Western Kentucky. We talked about Western Kentucky last week, but
Elephant in the Room is brought to you by Roback. Roback Use the promo code Room20 to get 20% off your Roback gear. Some really good shirts, Alabama shirts right now are out on Roback. And Jake, word is we might be getting another package soon. You guys out there, you want to look good on game day, roback.com, promo code Room20. We got knocked off a second ago, but we're back again. Let's talk about the offensive line. A lot of criticism there. Wilkin Formby had a bad game. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that. The offensive line looked out of sync until the end of the game. And then when they started to kind of get it figured out, or maybe they tired down the defense, Bama started running the football, and they looked like the dominant Alabama that we expected. If you had some advice, what did you see from Formby, and what advice do you give to a young player that had a bad game?
Well, let me just I guess go with the overall feel of the game first. South Florida. This was not a Western Kentucky team. That Western Kentucky game, like we talked about last week, there wasn't a whole lot to pull from. Western Kentucky, we were just so much better than them. We got momentum on our side early. I feel like they couldn't line up right. They couldn't keep up with the athleticism on our side. So you really didn't see a whole lot from us. South Florida came in and really, the penalties just killed us. Really narrow the playbook when you're in second and long, third and long situations. There's not really a whole lot of plays to pull from, when you're in those situations. And then on top of that, South Florida's bringing a bunch of different looks. A lot of times you're not real sure, who's coming when they're lining up in that fashion. And they're daring us to throw the ball to begin with. And again, bringing pressure, playing man. You got to really be in sync and know where you're going with the ball when that happens. And you got to be, in lockstep with your receivers. You got to understand what they're doing. They got to understand what you're thinking. You got to be able to read their leverage and understand how they're going to react versus, the way that the corner is positioned on their body or DB or whoever's guarding them. And I think it just showed that, this is a young team that hasn't played together a whole lot. And it's a new system. We're all trying to, get on the same page here with the new system. And then when you got that many different looks on top of that, there's a huge learning curve there. And so, in protection, it looked like there was a lot of confusion, especially early on. Running back, you weren't sure who was blocking who. Running backs were blocking the same guys and, letting guys come free. Jalen, sometimes things should have been picked up. They weren't. Maybe sometimes he should have gotten the ball out quicker and thrown hot. There's just a lot going on there, a lot of confusion. And I think it just took us time to get comfortable in that game and start dominating on offense. It obviously did up until the fourth quarter.
Yeah, well, it's a little worrisome, man. I'm not going to lie, because the schedule just keeps getting tougher. Wisconsin coming up, and we'll get into that on the next show that we do, our next podcast. But just kind of looking back on this game, Milroe at times, and we love Milroe. Look, there's a big debate from Alabama fans every year about the quarterback. You played that position, you know it. The most popular guy on the team is always the backup quarterback. There's always somebody that can come in and do it better. But in reality, there's a reason why the guy that is starting most of the time is starting, and Milroe gives Alabama the best chance to win. But there were times where he didn't look great. They had blitzers in his face. He's running backwards instead of throwing it away. It looked like he started to make some adjustments in that area. But at times, it just feels like maybe it's a little slow reading the defenses, or maybe it's that the offensive line isn't giving him a bunch of time. But you feel like he kind of takes some sacks because he's not getting rid of the football.
Well, I don't want to beat a dead horse here, and I'm tired of hearing the Jalen controversy. He's our starter. There's no better guy to be the starter at Alabama this year than Jalen Milroe. I know what those situations feel like. You feel like every time, you have a good positive play, it's called back. And then, when you're reset on second long, third and long, they're bringing different looks and you're not quite on the same page and you just can't feel like you're getting any momentum going. It's tough as a quarterback, especially when you're getting hit a lot. Early on in the game when that precedent is set and you're getting hit as soon as you release the ball, you think you got this picked up and it doesn't get picked up, you get sacked. Here and there you start second guessing, all right, well, is this guy going to run the right route or do we know what we're doing here? It gets you a little out of sync. And so momentum is huge in these games, especially these games against, the South Floridas and the teams that we should beat. Again, I'm not going to say lack of communication, but the lack of familiarity, I think, played a huge role in us getting a slow start and, not really playing like the Alabama we saw in the fourth quarter.
And you make a good point, too. I mean, one play you score a touchdown, you run past everybody, and then that's next, you got a holding penalty, and then it comes back, and then it's like then they expect you to keep the drive alive. And I mean, you set up for that play, you waited for that play, you got the right matchup, you ran it, everything worked, and then because of a penalty, it came back, and Formby was kind of the guy on the wrong end of those a lot.
Yeah, and some of I'm not one to bash refs a lot, but it just seemed like it was getting out of hand. The helmet, of course, they got to call that, I guess, but the helmet on Justin Jefferson, that hold on Formby on that long ball to Kobe Prentice was just, atrocious. The guy's rushing, he kind of stumbles forward, and Formby falls on top of him, which is what I feel like I've always, as an offensive lineman, you're coached to do. Just some bad calls that, thank God it was South Florida and we were, more talented than they were, and it ended up not mattering. But, these referees, sometimes I swear it's all about them. They got to throw that flag. And so, I want to see. I like games that are determined by the players, and I can't stand these games with all these flags thrown.
Well, it felt like too that there were parts of that game. I'm watching our wide receivers get held every single time they're running down the field, and where were the flags on that? I mean, they called a couple of them, but they didn't call many of them. Ryan Williams still slipped loose, made what I thought was the play of the game, him scoring a touchdown. It was cool to see Cole Adams in there. Hopefully he's going to, recover. He left with an injury. Bernard had a great game, I thought, made some good catches. But, all in all, you can't really – you get the defense play good again, man. We talk a lot about offense, but the defense – had another good game. They only gave up 16 points, and they kept Alabama in it. When they needed to stop, they got to stop. They were really ferocious on third and fourth down.
Yeah. No, I love the energy. I love the mindset our defense seems to play with. The only thing that makes me nervous is when we're in man coverage, and we talked about this before, but. Some guys open down the field in that game where Carson Beck is going to take advantage. We got to be able to man these guys up and just disrupt the pass game from the standpoint of the secondary, because some of those plays, they had at least two that I remember where guys running free and should have been touchdowns, but. We were, 3-4 yards behind those receivers.
Hanging out with Jake Coker here on Elephant in the Room, part of Cover Crimson. I want to tell you guys that Mike Johnson and I are getting together for the All-American Report. He's going to break down the offensive line play, and we're going to do that for subscribers only. So he's going to give his, his honest opinion on exactly what that looked like from a guy that played in the NFL on the offensive line. only the way that he can do it. We're going to have that on tomorrow, the All-American Report on covercrimson.com. But sign up right now for $1. If you get the annual membership, boom, look at that. You get one of these. Do you have the annual membership yet, Coker?
Oh, yeah, I got it.
You do? So you got one of these?
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Okay.
They need to start. It's okay.
It's not. Is it you didn't get the you got to go a size up on these shirts.
Yeah, that's right. It's a little
Probably,
tight.
but I'm gonna tell you this: like this right here is an extra large. Went up a size from large to extra large. Perfect fit for me.
You mean that's a double X? You went
No,
up
no,
one?
no. Shame on you. Look at you, man.
Hey, that's for last Friday.
If you guys didn't catch the tailgate show, we were in Tuscaloosa. We were supposed to be outside on the strip, but ended up having to swing it inside. When we recorded the show, it was raining for the tailgate show. But it was fun hanging out with you and talking. And it's fun hanging out with you guys here. And I just want to tell you, just cover Crimson. We're putting a lot of content out there, and we appreciate you guys being a part of this. So, just kind of wrapping it up. Final thoughts, your players of the game for that 42-16 win over South Florida.
I mean, I'll give it to. It's hard for me to give it to the running backs, and the only reason is, and it's hard. It's also hard to sit there and watch the TV game or watch it live first half, and then try to watch some of the TV copy the second half. I mean, I saw some miscommunication and protection. I thought they played well running the ball, but I mean, I'd probably give it to Ryan Williams. The guy, he's going to be – the only thing about Ryan is, I mean, he's 17. When he gets stronger, bigger and stronger, and he can be more physical running his routes, he's already so explosive, so dynamic as a receiver. When he gets a little more strength, gets a couple of years at Alabama, and he can run those routes physically, he's going to be just unbelievable. Maybe one of the best, if not the best receivers to come out of Alabama. Let's see. Defensively, I got to give it to Keenan. Thought he was a huge disruptor up front. He's got to get everybody else on the same page as him. I know Campbell had a big game Saturday. And then I give it to your boy Mbakwe on special teams.
Love him, man. I love him. It was good seeing him. When Cole Adams went down, Mbakwe got out there, caught the punt, and did a great job. That return set up a touchdown. When the Tide started rolling over the Bulls in the fourth quarter, a lot of that was the young guys. Ryan Williams scored, and Mbakwe set up the touchdown. You look at the guys on defense making plays. So
Keenan's one of those guys to me that he could have. He's playing like that 2015, 2014. That just brick wall up front. I think. Mm-hmm. I think their nickname was the Great Wall of Hell No.
You saw some of those guys. I saw our buddy Ryan. On the sideline, Ryan Anderson, and like a lot of your former teammates did. Some of those guys are still in the NFL now, but it must have been really cool to be around that 2014. And then a lot of those guys will probably come back next year too for the national championship celebration 10 years from 2015.
Oh yeah. No, man, it's always great going back because those guys, it's crazy. Once you play football with somebody, and I don't know what it is about playing football. I guess it's just, such a physical game and such a team-oriented game as well that, when you see them, it's like, you've been hanging out the entire time. All the memories come back, the workouts, all that stuff. I guess, just you going through all that together creates a close bond. And there's just nowhere like Alabama, man. It's that energy around that stadium, the love everybody has for football and the appreciation you felt on that field. Man, it's just, I don't know if you can find that in other schools around the country.
The 2000, and this has got to end it on this, but The 2014 SEC championship ring. You ever wear that one?
No, I hadn't. I don't think I've ever worn any of my rings. Got them all locked up. I'm not a bling guy.
You never just busted them out for one, like, hey, I'm going to wear it to one event, something special?
No, not once. I'm not that guy. You're not going to see me with chains or rings or any of that stuff. But I know we were talking about final thoughts. Everybody's down and out about this game. This is a point of emphasis we've made, I feel like, all off season. You're not going to know what this team is really like until after week 6, week 7. There's just so much opportunity for growth. Teams get so much better within that first 6-game stretch. You really find each other during that time and realize how guys play when the lights are on. Practice is different. Quarterbacks aren't live. The timing's a little different. I mean, you get a good feel, but when the bullets are flying and you don't have a coach out there, pushing you through drills and pushing you through reps, and you're kind of on an island by yourself, that's when you really learn and get better as a team. So a lot of confusion out there. And again, we've said it over and over again. That's going to happen. A lot of different looks from USF. That's a really well-coached team. I mean, a lot better than just, the USF logo you're used to seeing. I feel like I don't think that coach is going to be at USF long, and I think he did a heck of a job.
Yep, well said, man. Well said. I threw up the ring. I'm going to show you one more picture of it. Really cool ring, man. 2014. There. Is that it?
I guess so. I hadn't seen it in a while.
Well, look, let's get back together later this week. Roll Tide, my friend, and we'll do it again, man. And guys, look, final thing is Elephant in the Room is brought to you by mybookie.ag. Use the promo code NEXTROUND to double your initial deposit. That's right. MyBookie will double your initial deposit when you use the promo code NEXTROUND. Kick off the season with mybookie.ag and double your initial deposit. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. It was fun. And Jake, roll tide, brother. We'll do it again.
Roll Tide.